Okay, so just a brief video on the May government and what it faces in the years ahead. I'm using the plural years because at the moment Labour really looks like it's in an untenable position. I find it very hard to believe that Jeremy Corbyn will still be leader in 2020, which would be the end of this Parliament. That is unless Theresa May calls a general election. She will probably be under pressure to do that. It's difficult to imagine justifying having a non-elected prime minister for 4 years. So I suspect that there will be a general election sometime next year. I don't think it'll be as early as this year, but sometime in 2017. And there should be because Gordon Brown was unelected for 3 years, and not only did it cost him the election, but it was wrong. And I'm saying this as someone who is quite amicable towards Gordon Brown. I quite liked him, but I think that she really will have to do that. But that aside, just focusing on her job right now, she is Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and there are going to be some very, very important issues to face. Firstly, regarding the cabinet, I made a video about that when it was still being formed. The final cabinet is actually 8 women and 16 men, so it's one third exactly women. Um, which make of that what you will. But I would basically just reiterate everything I said in the video about women in politics and everything that entailed. I believe absolutely in meritocracy. Her number two, Philip Hammond, is essentially we don't have deputy prime ministers in this country as an office that is consistent. It is something left to a prime minister's discretion. But essentially, Hammond is May's number two. You could call it the ticket. To my American viewers, it's kind of like the ticket, the prime minister and the chancellor. So we are going to be seeing this period as the May Hammond period. Philip Hammond has his work cut out. He is the Brexit chancellor. Um, that's going to be a very complex situation. I believe Chancellor is one of the hardest jobs in the land, allocating what money goes where. And we are facing a situation where we have to negotiate what our relationship with the European Union is going to be. Um, there is a lot of pressure from European leaders to invoke Article 50 immediately, which would basically make this process really speeded up. And May has resisted that partly because she was a Remain campaigner. She has said Brexit means Brexit, so that indicates that she, contrary to the fears of Leave voters, she will respect their views. But that doesn't mean that we have to rush it. And I think, frankly, it would be a bit foolhardy to rush it. We need to know what exactly is going on. It's not like I want 2 years of uncertainty and, uh, sort of back and forth misunderstandings or debate with Brussels, but I think if we invoke Article 50 immediately and we just pull out, there is going to be problems with issues like funding for numerous science departments and drugs that come from mainland Europe. There's going to be all sorts of questions with this. So both May and Hammond are going to have to negotiate all of these things, and our new Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson. Incidentally, I'll just make a quick few words about Johnson. That has raised a lot of eyebrows when the American diplomats wasn't Ashton Carter, it was one of his subordinates was told about it. He almost had to be told twice to believe it. A lot of European leaders have acted with outright anger because Johnson was a very vocal Brexiteer. Boris Johnson is a larger than life figure. He was born in New York City, has Turkish heritage, but within Britain, he's one of our most famous politicians, larger than life figure. He did run London for 8 years as mayor of London, so no one could say he lacks experience. He was widely tipped to be a future prime minister, but he's a very colourful character. He has been controversial at times for his politically incorrect statements, but he's very popular as well. He's one of the few politicians in Britain that is genuinely pretty popular with the public. Even non-Tories admit he's got charisma and he's very, amicable. That doesn't mean that he's never, like I said, been controversial. When he was making a lot of money from the Daily Telegraph, he dismissed it as chicken feed, which at the time just sort of showed. how out of touch the Tories were, in my opinion, at that time with the divide that was happening in Britain. But anyway, back to Theresa May. One of her first major sort of roles as prime minister, apart from responding to the situations in Nice and in Turkey, was to go to a meeting in Scotland with Nicola Sturgeon. Now, I'm going to make a specific video on that very, very important issue, but I imagine that is something that is going to be very dominant in the May era. Um, these two issues, Brexit and the threat from separatism, are the two most vital issues that Theresa May faces right now. There is the issue of terrorism, but that's something that's been ongoing for a number of years now. Soon time will tell. It's only day three, um, so don't have a great deal more to add. Um, I, I am not a Tory, but I'm quite optimistic about Theresa May. I think she'll be tough enough to be the prime minister we need at this time. And it's not that I'm ideologically with her on everything. I'm absolutely not. And I'm sure there will be things that she does over the coming years that I will abhor, and I will say so when and if that happens. But for now, I believe the most critical issue is keeping this country together. And in that regard, I support Theresa May 120%. And I believe she will be tough enough to do this.